Hello, fictional. Welcome to the Fiction Series X. Today we are gonna see, what if Issei fall in love with Akino? The short movie. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Issei hyoudous' betrayal. It was just another day in the town of Kuo at Kuo Academy, where Issei was hanging with his best friends, most infamously known as the perverted duo. They were relaxing near the kendo club changing rooms as Mitsuda and Motohama were looking through the hole they like to call the hole to heaven. Issei was thinking about what he was going to do later today with the occult research club also known as the Peerage of Ria's Gremory. As Issei started to get up he heard the girls in the kendo club's changing room scream and he knew it was his time to leave. Time skipped to after school. Lately Issei had noticed Rias had been acting a little bit weirdly around him and he had no clue in hell why. As he approached the occult research club Issei had a plan for a bit of fun. He was going to pull a prank and tell his friends he no longer can summon drag and see their reactions. As Issei opened the door he saw all of his devil friends sitting on the sofa. "Hey guys," Issei said happily as he was about to do the prank of the century in his mind. "Hey Issei, we need to talk," came an unhappy Rias. At this moment, seeing how unhappy his master Rias was, he started to reconsider what he was doing, but he thought it would cheer her up and be a bit of a laugh. "I don't think this is a great idea Issei, what if they freak out?" Drake said to Issei in his mind. "It's gonna be fine," said Issei in his head, also thinking if this really is a good thing. "Actually Rias, I need to talk to you about something very important and I think everyone needs to hear this," said Issei holding back his laughter. "Go ahead Issei," Rias said a little nervously. "I have lost the power to summon my boosted gear, Drake," Issei said, trying to sound as sad as he could so he can get as much sympathy from everyone that he could. "Well, that will make my news change a little," then said Rias happily. At this Issei started to get a bit nervous as he didn't know what his friends would say. "I'm sorry Issei, but me Kaneko Kiba Asia and Zenobia have decided to kick you out of the peerage, but you had to see this coming," said Rias in a serious way. "Wait, but I thought you all loved me," said Issei, tears forming in his hazel eyes. "I'm sorry Issei, but you had to see I was only using you from the start. Now I will take your 8 demonic passion pieces and I would like you to leave," said Rias with a happy smile. "Wait, what about Akino's vote? What did she have to say?" said Issei with a little hope still left in his heart. "Well, she did vote for you to stay, but if she would have heard what you just say I'm pretty sure she would have changed her vote," Rias said, now getting very annoyed. "Fine, well at least one of you are still a nice person," Issei said before kicking down the door and throwing his pawn pieces at Rias before resummoning drag and shooting a dragon shot at Rias and hitting her on the leg but only broke it as he had not boosted before and walked out of the door and just kept walking. "I feel bad for you partner, even though I hadn't seen that coming, but now with the chess pieces gone, it will be very difficult to survive, but there is that slim chance, so let's hope for the best." "Well then Drake, let's go find some hope. We only have 2 days of your life force left till we die, so what are the options we have?" "Well, there are 2 options. The first is if enough members of the other factions put some life force into you, or you can find one of the sacred gears called the Pen of Simon, which if touched by someone, will give them the power of gods, which will most likely be more than enough to stop you dying and give you near infinite power." "Okay then Drake, looks like we have 2 days to find this Pen of Simon. Any idea of where it is?" "Well, there are rumors of 2 places, one place being Egypt and the other it is said to be kept in the chambers of the Gremory or Dazer household, which is the most likely, but if it's in the Dazer house you will have to do more fighting, but you won't have to face Surziches, or you can go to the Gremory first and fight Surziches and maybe Rias." "Okay then Drake, let's make our way to hell." Issei then looked once more at Kuo before making his way to one person that would be able to get him to hell, which is Kuroka, but just before he set off a mysterious man appears behind him. He had a bow on his back wearing full black cloak. "Hey, you're Issei, right?" said the mysterious man. "Yes, and you're," said Issei in a fighting stance. "Don't worry Issei, I am not here to start a fight, but more like here to help you get to hell if you promise me one thing," snarled the mystery man. "Fine, what is it?" said Issei, releasing the tension in the air. "Well, you see I have a true hatred for the owner of the territory also known as Ria's Gremory, and if I help you get the pen, you will promise to bring her to a slow agonizing death," said the mystery man. "That makes 2 of us as I also plan to come back to this town after I have enough power to clear this town of the disease also known as Rias and her peerage," snarled Issei. "Fine, let's get going then. Oh, and by the way you can call me Darkshot as it is my assassin name," said Darkshot. Underworld outside the Gremory territory. It was raining surprisingly. Issei never knew it could rain in the underworld, like come on, it's known for it being horrible, and rain was just refreshing. Well, Issei felt this way, but that can't be said for Dark, who was hiding under all the cover he could so that he wouldn't get wet. "I think we should stop here for the night Issei before we get too close to the territory," suggested Dark as he pulled out some firewood and a lighter from his back pocket. "Yeah, that sounds like a plan, but just one thing, are you stupid? A fire would give away our position," screamed Issei as he realized just how dumb his newfound partner in crime actually was. Calm down Issei, I know dark spells, and I can turn the fire black, so it will be nearly impossible to see at night, but still give off heat so we don't die of hyperthermia. Said Dark, trying to calm Issei down before he gave away their position to everyone in the underworld. Oh yes, sorry about that, completely forgot I was, shouted, my fault. Apologized Issei as he found some nice dry leaves and branches to make a makeshift shelter. As the day turned to night, the two boys settled in and talked about life so far and what had happened to them, and Dark couldn't help but laugh at how stupid and perverted Issei really was, but Issei on the other hand just frowned at Dark's depressing story of betrayal and hardships. As midnight struck, something weird happened in Issei's mind. It was like a vision of the future, and the vision was of Dark protecting a very badly injured Issei as the whole of the allied factions closed in on them, firing their most powerful attacks. This made the next morning very bright. Issei now saw Dark as a brother, not someone who could backstab him at any second, but a true loyal friend or family. It was the day of the attack and the deciding day of Issei's life, as if the pen of Simon was not here, then his life was over, but if it was here he would be on par with Surzich's or even on par with Great Red. Mission Preparation Room, Gremory Mansion. Wait, so you're telling me that we have two cloaked terrorists approaching our mansion whilst my sister and her peerage are here? Said Surzich's as he strolled up and down the room. Yes, I am sorry to inform you of this, but they give off a very strong magical pressure, so be careful if you decide to fight them in a 2v1. Said Surzich's main advisor. Are you dumb? No matter how strong I am, I will never be as foolish to engage a 2v1, I will take Raphia with me and force a 2v2, so we can have a fair fight. Said Surzich's as he geared up in some newly made battle armor, imagine the Gears uniform but fully crimson, and with a devil-horned crimson helmet. Okay, I will notify your sister to get to safety. Said his advisor as he rushed off. Outside with Dark and Issei. So the plan is I distract whoever attacks us head on, and you sneak off and find this pen. Said Issei as he started slowly putting on scalemail underneath his cloak. Yes, I would use a shadow sneak and get behind the men into the building and see what I can do from there, and trust me Issei, I will get this one no matter what. Said Dark as he looked over to the front door of the mansion open and to see Surzich's and Graphia both walk out in matching armor, just one was black iced and the other was crimson. I won't be able to fight them 2v1, but I'll distract them as best as I can, and if I'm not dead by the time you get back we can finish them off with my new power. Said Issei as Dark nodded and Shadow sneaked into the mansion. Who are you? Shouted Surzich's from across the courtyard, but Issei didn't answer, he just stood there silently not making a move. I'll say it again, who are you and why are you here? Shouted Surzich's in anger. I thought family was always welcome, said Issei using Drake's voice, but modified and ripping off his cloak to reveal his boosted gear scalemail in black and a flag with an old emblem. Surzich's didn't even think, still excited, and that was the flag of two different factions combined, Black Ice and Velvet Sword, the two most powerful ancient powers of all time. Prepare for your doom, Surzich's Gremory, and the most powerful maid Graphia. Today you will see the end of my flag implanted in your skull. With Dark. As Dark walked through the mansion's halls, he admired all of the crimson red material used. Like, come on, who likes this color that much? Yeah, the color is cool and all, but seriously this is overkill, was what Dark was thinking, until he got what felt like a light pinch hit him in the back, and when he turned around, he saw a young teenager with blonde hair and a sword trying to stab him in the back. So you're the knight of that Gremory, bitch. Said Dark as he started to get closer to the knight until he got roundhouse kicked from behind, knocking him on his face. God damn it, that just pissed me off, who the fuck did that? Screamed Dark as he got up from his prone position and turned to see Kaneko standing there in some sort of fighting gear. Oh, it was just a little girl. Well, that completely sucks. I was kinda hoping for some really tall strong guy that I could tear limb from limb, but I'm left with you, but still I might tear you limb from limb. Said Dark as he charged at Kaneko, jabbing her ribs, breaking them in one swift movement. Then as Kaneko screamed in pain, he got on one knee and placed her in a headstand position before standing back up and kicking her like a rugby ball into a wall, making her lose consciousness. Well, that was kinda boring. I didn't even get to use any of my power. Now time to move on. Said Dark, completely forgetting about the knight behind him as he ran at full speed at Dark, only for him to step out of the way at the last second and put out a foot, tripping him over, and then pulling out a dagger from his robes and slicing Kiba's calves all the way up, and then putting his hand inside and ripped out all the muscle and snapped the bone before walking off, leaving two very badly injured pieces of Ria's peerage and walking on to find the pen, only to be zapped by lightning, causing him to flinch a little and then send a dagger flying at the attacker's body and pinning them to a wall by their arm. I missed the heart. Said Dark sarcastically as he carried on walking, noticing the attacker was pinned up on the wall, paralyzed with fear. How dare you hurt my family? Shouted out Riaz as she came into visual looking really pissed. Oh sorry princess, did your little slaves get hurt? At least they're not dead like that pawn of yours. Laughed Dark as he wanted her to attack in anger so that he could beat her as quickly as he can. Shut up, that's a lie, I know he is still alive somewhere. shouted Riaz as she was surrounded by a red aura and crimson balls of destruction flew straight at Dark, smashing him in the chest, sending him flying into a nearby wall, causing it to smash and crumble on top of him. Back with Issei. Come on Dark, hurry it up, I can't keep this up for that long. Thought Issei as he barely dodged another bolt of destruction, but falling straight into the hands of Graphia as she froze him from the neck down. Come on boy, you didn't really think that you could beat us, fake dragon emperor, said Serziches as he walked over with a ball of destruction in hand. Oh fake, did you say no? I'm the real deal, I just decided to change up my crimson red for black as I seriously hate the color red, said Issei as he deactivated his scale mail and breaking the ice in the process to reveal him in some sort of knight armor with a sign of black eyes and a fragment of Excalibur on his back. How did you get Excalibur Rapid that was given back to the church months ago? Said Serziches. Let's just say that this isn't from this universe but was made in this universe, said Issei as he drew his sword and got ready for battle. Issei, I have the pen, we are good for evac, G should be here in a couple minutes, just get into this mansion and find me in the main hall first, left its armory, said Dark over the comms as Issei turned off his earpiece and used Excalibur Rapid to sprint past Serziches and Graphia and make it into the building in 3 seconds flat. Back with Dark. Yo Issei, I didn't expect you to still be alive, but here is your pen, but don't use it till we get back to base so we can inject that into you in a different universe so that you don't destroy half of Japan, said Dark as Issei ran into the room, closing the door behind him and panting loudly. About fucking time, like come on dude, what, we only have 2 hours left till I die and I can already feel myself losing all of my energy, sighed Issei as he sat down waiting for his evac in a minute. Well, if you really want to, you could use that pen here, but you have a chance of killing yourself so I don't recommend it, said Dark as he saw a teleportation circle open up underneath Issei and himself and bringing them back to their base. As the two regained their senses, a man with goldish blonde hair came into view, wielding what seemed to be a huge battle axe, but in reality was just his hunting weapon. So you boys made it out alive, shouted out the man as he got closer and picked up Excalibur Rapid from the floor and putting it back onto a wall behind him. Yeah, of course we did, Gilgamesh, who in the hell do you think we are? Shouted Dark as he approached Gilgamesh and gave him a tight embrace and then walked off and went to get some rest. So you're the new kid, how you look a little puny to be a fighter, but I won't judge till I see you in action, but before that we need to go inject this pen, Ito, you please step this way, said Gilgamesh as he motioned Issei to follow him as he walked into a small kitchen type of room, only for the walls to be sucked inwards and him to appear next to what looked like a grail of some kind. So kid, just inject that into your arm and let the magic happen, said Gilgamesh as he disappeared back into the kitchen and Issei to inject the pen without a second thought, only for him to scream out in pain as the power rushed through his blood as he saw the memories and skills of all the past hosts of this amazing power, but also of his ancestors. Come on Logan, we have a mission to do, shouted out a young girl no older than 13. Shut it Sam, I know what I have to do and I know the price for my actions, but at least it will end this god-forsaken war, right? Questioned Logan as he saw Sam look at him confused and about to ask him what the price was, but Logan just nodded his head and walked past Sam, even though she looked really worried for him. You're going to be alright, aren't you? You promised you would come back, so you better, shouted Sam as Logan slowly descended into the underworld. I'm sorry Sam, but God might have to see me first, so God bless you Sam, said Logan as he chuckled as he saw Sam wince in pain as he mentioned God's name and Sam's direction, but then saw her shocked face at what he had just said. As Logan hit the floor of the underworld, he realized something: this was going to be his last day as a mortal, but also the last time he would ever see anyone he would ever love again. As Issei regained his bearings, he realized he was no longer in the place the kitchen took him to, but he was in a bedroom and there was a lot of loud music going on preventing him from sleeping. When he finally found it in him to get up, he moaned in annoyance as he saw everyone gearing up in cloaks with different versions of holy swords. As Issei progressed through the base, he found Gilgamesh handing out weapons and decided to go get one himself. Wow kids, aren't you eager to get in on the action? It has only been 2 days since you injected yourself with a pen and you're already ready for a fight, said Gilgamesh as he saw Issei was still confused as to what was going on. Okay kid, I'll explain. The music you can hear is coming from above our base in the Phoenix Mansion and we are planning a recon mission or terrorist attack, you could call it, on the devils, as we are planning to kill or capture a noble devil, said Gilgamesh as he handed Issei his Excalibur Rapid. So you're telling me the plan is capture a noble devil at this party and hold them hostage, said Issei as he looked at Gilgamesh, who just nodded. Why, may I ask, are we going after them now? Said Issei as he put on his cloak and readied himself for battle. Well, you see kid, this is step 1 of our 5-step plan, and this plan is all for Dark for a little bit of revenge, you could say, on his old partner Light, who abandoned him in his time of need, sighed Gilgamesh, remembering the stories he was told about Light from Dark and how she betrayed him without a second thought. Okay, so is this Light person a noble devil as well then? asked Issei, wanting to know more on his mission, but only got a nod from Gilgamesh and a sign for him to be quiet as soon as the music stopped and an announcement was starting to get made. Upstairs in the Phoenix Mansion. I wonder what this announcement is about, said Ravel as she turned to see Sona Citri next to her nodding in agreement. Okay, settle down please, great devils at this party. Although this party is celebrating the alliance between the three factions, it is also a great way to announce something very important for the future of us devils, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is that we will be marrying Ravel to one of the other noble high-class devils, said Sir Phoenix as everyone cheered, but those of Sona's peerage and Ravel as she ran out the room crying. Back down in the base. Did we really just hear that right? Said Issei, astonished at the declaration. I think we did, but that made our situation 10 times better. Issei, make your skill mail red again and a little bit broken and go see if you can get that girl on our side, said Gilgamesh as Issei ran as fast as he could to a teleportation circle that had just appeared on the floor and teleported outside the Phoenix Mansion. Why me, Ravel screamed into her pillow, not paying any attention to the world around her until she heard a crash from outside to see Issei in his boosted gear, without a helmet on and the chest piece scratched and torn. Issei, shouted Ravel as she ran out to her balcony doors and opened them to let Issei in, as he stumbled in and lay down on her bed and deactivated his boosted gear and looking at her with a goofy grin. Long time no see, how you been? Coughed Issei, trying his best not to let it tear out seeing one of the only devils he actually cares about in front of him. Well, I was doing okay until tonight, until I was forced into getting engaged to a random high-class devil that I don't even know because I ran out of the room before my dad finished, but apart from that I heard you died, cried Ravel as she hugged onto Issei, not letting go. Well, you see, I would have been dead if it wasn't for a really nice man who saved me and taught me more about my past than I have ever known, sniffled Issei as tears started falling from his eyes. Well, who is this man and what is his name? Questioned Ravel, only for Issei to look confused himself as he knew Dark was not his actual name, but what was it he didn't know? He has a nickname of Dark or Darkshot, but I don't know his real name, sighed Issei as he pried Ravel off of him and looked her in the eyes. I know this is sudden and all, but you're the only devil I can really trust, so how would you feel about joining me and running away, said Issei as Ravel nodded her head and Issei summoned a teleportation circle and they both stepped in, but as they teleported they saw Sona run into the room and they heard her scream stop, and that was all. The organization 3 hours after the Phoenix incident had gone silent now down at the base. The soundproof barriers had been activated and everyone had called it a night except for 3 people, and that was Gilgamesh, Dark and Issei, who were all sitting at a round table discussing that night's mission. So I guess I'm not going to get a holiday just yet, huh? Sighed Issei as he looked at the different files of information sat in front of him. Far from it actually, kid, this is only the start of your work and today you will start one of the hardest undercover missions performed by our group, said Gilgamesh as he kicked up his feet and let his head lay back. Yeah, I gathered that, as I think joining the ranks of the Greek demigods will be pretty hard all in itself, said Issei as he slammed his head on the table out of instinct. We know it's a lot to ask of you, Issei, but it's a perfect time to take out at least a few gods for our organization and maybe a potential ally of ours, said Dark as he took out a dagger from his cloak and handed it to Issei. We know that this is a suicide mission, but with this dagger you have about a 30% chance of completing and surviving this ordeal. Now go before the tournament starts. And with that a magic circle appeared under Issei's feet and sent him off to Athens. Greek fighting tournament. Prize an audience with the Greek gods. Requirements: have a weapon and an iron will. Start time 1500 hours PM. At the tournament, as Issei walked around he managed to scout out a couple of his opponents from the first 3 he is fighting out of the total 5 he will, but he can't seem to find out anything on the last 2. Looking down at his watch he realized it was 1500 hours and time to start his first battle of his many. Okay fighters, please take your positions in the Colosseum. First fight: Issei Sandstinger vs the descendant of Zeus, Jason Grace. Looks like I have to fight him first. God, how I was hoping I would have to fight him last, thought Issei as he stepped forward and unsheathed his dagger, releasing a bit of his power. Now let me remind you, no deaths must occur in this battle, only when the enemy is unable to fight will it be a victory. Now begin. As those words sounded, Jason rushed forward at Issei, hoping to catch him off guard, only to find that Issei perfectly dodged with a commando roll forwards, slicing the back of Jason's ankle as he went. Should I underestimated him? Thought Jason as he headed for another attack, only to be stabbed from behind in the shin with what looked like a rock, but at closer inspections was a shark tooth. As Jason turned he saw Issei smiling with his dagger hanging out of his mouth and a rope in hand. So his weakness is something faster than himself. Well, that's going to be easy for me then, thought Issei as he summoned another shark tooth using the pen of Simon and launching it at Jason, only for it to pierce his eye and Jason to let out a scream that even the angels could hear. Right, you fuck, that's it, screamed Jason as he summoned lightning and threw it at Issei in blind rage, only managing to clip his ankles and arms every once in a while as Issei dropped and rolled like he was on fire. "You know, Jason, I thought better of you, one of the heroes of Greece, how disappointing," said Issei as he pulled out his dagger and sliced a lightning bolt in half and walked towards Jason and pierced his stomach with the dagger, releasing darkness inside of his body, causing Jason to fall to the floor half dead. After a shocking turn of events, Issei Sandstinger has beaten Jason without a sweat. 3 landslide victories to Issei later. So folks, what we have all been looking forward to today, the reigning champ vs the underdog Issei Sandstinger. Well, without further ado, here she is, the reigning champ who doesn't have a name we can announce. Well, she has no name, huh? I didn't think I would be fighting a stranger to the world, sighed Issei as he walked forward after his name was announced, and for the women to be standing there with the same armor that Sursages wore when they fought with a dagger nearly identical to his. "How did you get that dagger? There are only 5 in existence, and 2 were destroyed in the Great War, and 1 went missing along with its wielder," said the reigning champ. "Oh, you mean this one? Well, let's say my buddy lent it to me for this tournament, but it looks like you might know something, and that isn't good now, is it? How about a wager? If I win, you tell me who, what and where you come from," exclaimed Issei. "And if I win?" asked the reigning champ. "Then you can either have all the information on my friend or you can have the dagger itself," smirked Issei as he saw how conflicted she was. "Okay, if I win I take the dagger," exclaimed the reigning champ. "Okay, now that this small wager is complete, the match may now begin. So you have a dagger of the 8 elements as well, huh?" exclaimed Issei as he circled his opponent. "Yeah, and what about it? I see you have one as well, and I'm not ruling over that fact now, am I?" shouted back his opponent. "You may not, but I'm a collector of sorts, and I already have 4 of the daggers, and I plan on using all 8 together to make the most powerful sword in existence," sighed Issei, not wanting to explain this again as he had already done it to the last 3 wielders. "Well, I won't let you, or I am not Samantha Satan," shouted his opponent. "Wait, that's a joke, right? You're not actually a descendant of Satan and hold the light dagger that's messed up on 2 levels of messed up," chuckled Issei as he lowered his weapon. "Are you not going to attack me then?" shouted Sam, fearing his next answer. "Nah, you intrigue me well too much to kill, so I'll just find the other daggers before I come back for yours. And anyway, how old are you?" asked Issei, looking at the girl. "I'm 12 and a half, but have the memories of my ancestors implanted inside me," shouted Sam. "Same age as me, huh? Interesting indeed. But Issei, damn, I have a long way to go until I can beat stronger opponents," shouted Issei in frustration as he reflected on the draw and the last muscles ached. The fatigue was finally setting in and his legs gave out on the side of a dirty dark alleyway. "Hello, young sir, who might you be?" exclaimed a mysterious man as he approached the obviously exhausted Issei. "None of your damn business is who," sighed Issei, not even bothering to give the man a second glance. "Fine, then I'll be on my merry way. However, if you feel you need someone to help you out, make sure to call on your good old friend Hermes," whispered the now proclaimed Hermes, which caused Issei's interest to peak. "You mean Hermes as the god Hermes?" questioned Issei. "Why, yes, the one in Same. I saw your fight, Sandstinger, and let me say I haven't seen anyone go toe-to-toe with a reigning champ for decades," exclaimed Hermes in pure bliss at the memory of the intense stalemate that had occurred at the tournament. "I thought the reigning champ was only 12 years old though?" asked Issei in general confusion as he scanned Hermes' body language for any sort of lies. "Oh, that silly tactic of hers really gets people. She only says that to trick people into underestimating her true power. However, you seem to stand guard even at the revelation, and I'm guessing it's to do with your knowledge of the 8 elemental daggers," sighed Hermes as he took a seat next to Issei. "I guess you could say that much, or it's the fact that even though I consider myself reasonably strong, I could never truly beat a strong opponent, and I've faced many who disguise themselves as younger children. So do you know her real age?" asked Issei, genuinely intrigued by the seemingly peaceful god sitting beside him. "No one does, unfortunately, my friend. All I can tell you, if she's old enough to be your grandma's grandma," sighed Hermes as he stood up, brushing the dirt off as he did so. "Well, I guess you're off then?" asked Issei, slowly gaining the strength in his legs to do so. "Yes, it would seem my father requests a meeting with the whole council," exclaimed Hermes as he started a casual stroll away from Issei, not even turning around to see if Issei was watching his retreat. Issei simply watched the retreating form of Hermes before taking his own leave to a nearby hotel to stay the night. On his way to the local hotel, he really begun to examine his surroundings from the jet black night sky that seemed to hold endless possibilities to the crooked run-down restaurants that littered the alleyways that showed the aging of a civilization through each restaurant he passed. Issei only seemed to sigh as he recalled the one simple and great life he thought he had been living and the homely warmth he missed. His bed, his shower, and most importantly his family. Family, that was a foreign concept to Issei now. He merely saw everyone as a companion or an enemy, nothing more, nothing less. His time of being the ignorant young Japanese high school student was over, even with the massive knowledge he still had to learn. Depression seemed to be a top killer in the supernatural world, and it really started to hit home on Issei. One would wonder how immortality could ever be conceived as a blessing and not a curse, because Issei was far from immortal, but was already experiencing the loneliness of an immortal heart and the insanity that might slowly come with it. Partner, I know it's been a long time since we have spoken, but I am still here for you, sighed Drake, feeling the depression that was filling Issei's soul. I know partner, I know, sighed Issei, and with that interaction the pair went silent as Issei walked into the hotel he planned on staying at before the real operation would begin. So what can I do for you, young sir, spoke the hotel receptionist as he looked like he was about to drop to sleep at the ungodly hour it was. One room for a one-night stay please, preferably with a balcony view of the city. Sighed Issei with hollowed eyes as he was thinking of the challenges to come. Okay sir, here is the key, and we will be charging you in the morning if that's okay. Questioned the receptionist, who really just wanted to go to bed. Okay, thank you and good night. Exclaimed Issei as he headed straight to his room 115 as it read on the key. As Issei entered the room he flopped immediately onto the bed and opened up a call to main HQ. So how did phase 1 go? Exclaimed Gilgamesh on the other side of the call. A few hiccups but overall was not too bad, lied Issei, not wanting to tell Gilgamesh about his failure, but unfortunately for Issei Gilgamesh had seen straight through his lie. What happened exactly, Issei asked Gilgamesh, scarily calm. I ran into an elemental dagger wielder. Exclaimed Issei, shrinking in anticipated fear of Gilgamesh's reaction. Shit, this wasn't meant to happen so early, but we will be sending a squad of 5 to your location, including Dark, so sit tight, and the main phase shall begin in 2 days, once they all arrive. Sighed Gilgamesh as he abruptly hung up the transmission, and Issei was left to his own thoughts. So looks like in 2 days I will finally have my first war to fight in. The war against Olympus. And so how was this story? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this story with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.